So speaking of tonight, the topic, Hong Kong 2025, a glimpse into the future. So on future-related topics, when I speak to executives, I often say that, today is probably the hardest and most complicated day so far in your career. On the other side, or at the same time, today is the simplest and most streamlined day they will ever experience in their lifetime. Why? Because it's time for change. So you see that I'm wearing Google glasses. And you might think that those are quite yesterday, right? But these are actually the brand new beta version coming straight out of Google X. So if I press this, I can see a glimpse into the future. So let's see what I can see by touching this. So I see that it's December. The weather is like today, kind of drizzling rain. It's 10 years from now. It's 2025. What a coincidence. I just got out of bed. I feel good. The thermostat, I walk into the bathroom. The thermostat knew that I was getting up at 5:45, so it made sure that my bathroom had my preferred temperature. The display in my bathroom mirror tells me a little bit different story. It says my average body temperature and pulse has been slightly higher the past 3 days, and I've been twisting and turning more than usual. So the big data compiled on this tells me that I'm probably catching the flu. My devices sent this report to my doctor, who looked it over, and he has prescribed some light meds. So as I turn the shower off, my coffee maker goes on, because my average time of getting dressed is 10 minutes, so the coffee will be ready. As I brush my teeth, the toothbrush discovers some tartar and has been monitoring a cavity for some time, so it's figuring out what to do with that. So I walk into the kitchen, grab a cup of coffee, and I check the groceries that my fridge tells me that I might need in the upcoming days. I order home delivery, and I ask to add the ingredients for my signature dish because I'm having family over for Sunday. Is this fiction? Not really. This is technology that exists today. Not widely distributed, but still. So already by 2020, in 5 years' time, there will be more everyday objects connected to the internet than mobiles and tablets combined. And that is a trillion-dollar business opportunity by 2025, which is the topic of today. McKinsey Institute describes this as a trillion-dollar opportunity of the Internet of Things, stating that they will be about somewhere between $4 trillion to $11 trillion annually by 2025, just looking at the development of Internet of Things. So today, Asia has 50% of the countries where smartphone penetration has exceeded computer penetration. Another fact is that probably another 3 billion people is going online within 2025. And how will 3 billion more people, probably most from this region, affect your business? And which region in the world do you think will have the potential of getting most out of that trillion-dollar business opportunity? You're living in it. But we have to get it right. We have to adapt to the future, and we have to be ready. So there are some areas at the core of this opportunity. Mobile, cloud computing, automation of knowledge work, robotics, energy storage, autonomous vehicles, and nanotechnology, just to name a few. So these will all be essential growth drivers going into the future. So prepping for today's speech, I was speaking to the other speakers, and one question just sort of stuck. And that was, Lars, do you really think there are going to be mobile phones in 2025? Or are they just going to be, retro technology at the market of Shamshupo? And I was like, well, if I look at what McKinsey Institute says, they say that by 2025, mobile will be $1.7 trillion business annually. So I guess mobile will be around in some form or another, maybe not the way we look at it today. Well, let's see. And I think if I take, one more sort of look into the future by touching my virtual glasses here, I see that, it's afternoon, and I'm driving in my electrical car, which I can fully charged in 30 minutes, and it's lasting two weeks. And remember, my toothbrush sort of discovered something. It booked me a dentist. So while driving over there, my cloud-driven assistants read my emails and shares the most shared articles with me while I'm getting there. And when I get into dentistry, there is no latency, right? I just put myself comfortably in the chair, open my mouth, and the robot instantly starts to clean off that tartar as the picture it took shows that everything was okay. No chit-chat. You don't get the flu from the dentist either. And I walk out and I pay by simply walking out. So when tech talks to each other on data collection, data monitoring, and decision making, when you enable technology to make life easier for people, like the future examples I just gave you, you see disruption. And we see disruption already today, all over, by companies that today are digital natives that just makes the web work for them. The world's largest taxi company, Uber, owns no cars. The most popular social media company, Facebook, creates no content. The world's most valuable retailer, Alibaba, has no inventory. And the world's largest accommodation provider, Airbnb, owns no real estate. This is just the beginning. So, I often think, what's next? Is it possible that the development can continue in the same speed? And I usually share this story from Andrew McAfee, which sort of where we are in terms of technology. And I'll leave you with this. So he used the analogy of a chessboard, and he calls it the second half of the chessboard. So as the legend goes, the inventor of chess presents his game to the Emperor of India, who is so pleased he offered him any wish he desires. And the inventor goes, okay, all I want is a single grain of rice on square 1, 2 grains of rice on square 2, 4 on square 3, and so on. And the emperor says, well, you're not only smart, but you're a humble man. Your wish is granted. And as the piles of rice enter the second half of the chessboard, the emperor starts figuring out what's going on. So of course, given that it's that time, he does what emperors used to do. He chops the inventor's head off. But in case you wonder, by the time you get to square 32 of a chessboard, you have 4 billion grains of rice, which is by the size of a large rice field. By the time you get to the 64th square of the chessboard, you have enough rice to build a true replica of Mount Everest, or more rice than mankind ever produced. So what the story relates to is that the power of exponential growth, which in technology terms is synonymous with Moore's law. We started measuring technology development in 1958. So if we do this from 1958, and the doubling period was every 18 months, we entered the second half of the chessboard in 2006. And that explains a lot of the things that have been happening the past 10 years. Facebook, YouTube, cars, glasses, lenses, drones, artificial intelligence. A lot of stuff has been going on quite rapidly because we are just entered the second half of that chessboard. Because it is the years ahead of us that gets crazy. So here we are in 2015, and we're looking into the future at this fresh thinker stage. And we know that there will be more development in every month than my grandparents experienced in a lifetime. What does that mean to us? So to sum it up, today's internet-related activities represents only 3% of the world GDP. So when we think of how indispensable internet is to us and how it completely changed our life the last decade, the 3% says something about the gigantic potential it is in the Internet of Things. So it's pretty clear to even the most purist pessimist that we are in not just one, but a dozens of paradigm shifts or disruptions, if you like. And more old models on how to make money will just disappear. Like digital pictures didn't seem important to Kodak. So remember these questions if you don't want to be a Kodak moment. What is important to your business? What would need to change to keep up with change? And how are you going to adapt? And how are your business gonna survive?